Everything you've ever imagined is real. See, I tell young people like this. First of all, this is how your imagination works. You got to grab this concept. It is impossible for you to think an impossible thought. That is impossible. You can't think something that ain't possible. You ain't that smart. So if it's in your head, you got to ask yourself, how did it get there? That's God showing you a preview of a coming attraction he has for you.
Okay, everybody can't do it. Okay, yeah, I love this one. You know, people talk about this. We're all born with greatness. We're not fucking born with greatness. You earn greatness. Okay, that's a bullshit line to sell fucking shit, to talk about we're all born with greatness. Okay, that's the raw stuff about giving people hugs and high fives and all that other stuff. That's a fucking high. Okay, I tell people, what do you got to do to get to paradise? You got to fight like fucking hell.
I just be myself. I think people respect that when you just an authentic person. And I try to do great work for people. I work hard to make sure that the finished product is something that I would go see, or that I would spend my time watching or listening to. So I think it's a lot of pride that goes into the work.
The problem is we don't teach people how to lead, right? When you're very, very junior, we give people tons of training how to do their jobs. Some people get advanced degrees how to do their jobs so that they'll be good at them. And if you're really good at your job, we'll promote you. And eventually you get promoted to a position where you're now responsible for the people who do the job you used to do, and we don't teach you how to do that. So how can we expect people to be good at their jobs if we don't train them how to do it? Like, would you go see a doctor that didn't go to medical school? No. So why would we work for a leader who has no training in being a leader? That's why we get managers. That's why we get micromanagers. That's why we get toxicity. It's not because they're bad people. It's because they don't know what they're doing. And they're making it up as they go along.
I care a lot about the truth of things and trying to understand the truth of things. I think that's important. If you're going to come up with some solution, then the truth is really, really important. I think. I try to think of. It's difficult to obviously come up with things that are praise for oneself, or there's bad and good here, but I think sometimes they're just the things that seem quite clear and obvious to me, and I don't understand why they aren't so obvious to everyone.
In our society, we often don't take on big things because we're so afraid of making mistakes that we ignore all the things wrong today if we do nothing. The reality is, anything we do today is going to have some issues in the future. But that can't stop us from getting started. So what are we waiting for? It is time for our generation-defining great works.
Every challenge I take, I have a big vision. I put a lot of effort, a lot of sacrifice in things I do. If I don't do it, it means I don't believe in it. In this, I believe very strong, and I will not give up until I'm top of the world. So that's the way it works. You aim for the top, you don't aim for the second. Second place is the first place among the last ones, and that's not my target.
The one thing, people talk about depression all the time. The difference between depression and sadness is just, from happenstance. Whatever happened or didn't happen for you, or, grief or whatever it is. And depression is your body saying, fuck you, I don't want to be this character anymore. I don't want to hold up this avatar that you've created in the world. It's too much for me.
The one thing that I have learned to relate to all of my children is to dream. There is nothing bigger than your dream. Nothing is greater than your dream. I am not saying that your education is not important, because it's tied to a lot of your dreams. But let me tell you something. There ain't nothing bigger than your dream. Because your dream will propel you to get the education.
Do you like spending money? Clearly not.
Not particularly.
I heard a story that you wanted to buy a watch, and at this point you had sold millions of albums, that you wanted to buy a watch.
I know the story.
Is that true? You called up your manager to see if you could afford to buy the watch?
Yeah. I think it was a Rolex. Was it a Rolex? It was a Rolex. And I asked him, could I afford it? Because they make fun of me for it, but I'm for real. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? Like, this is the whole money thing, all that stuff was brand new to me.
When you're chasing your dream and when you're working hard, chasing something you love and completely dedicated, it just happens. You can't really notice it. You know, even still to this day, I'm in an amazing position in my life, but I'm still working like I'm not. I'm still working like I'm not in this position. Yeah, it's just something I love to do, and I just keep pushing and keep working hard.
You have to understand, when you have nothing to compare it to, you just get to go to work and you see so many of your friends who are not working. I'm just grateful to be working and explore other things and not just sit back and just wait for what's handed to you.
God, it tests you. It tests you and see how much of this you can take before you say, let's just be finished with this. You know what I mean? It wants to show you something. It wants to see how much you can take, how much you can handle of life. You say you love life, you want to live life. I'm going to show you life. Life is beautiful, but you have to accept the good and the bad as being beautiful.
We're all human. And we all just want a chance. A chance at life. A chance at an education, a chance at a future, really. I know that each and every one of you has the opportunity to help someone else. All you need to do is help one person, expecting nothing in return.
I don't want to move fast. I want to move correctly. I just don't want to waste no time. If it's something that's going to take us a year to make, if it's something that's going to take us 10 years to make, that's fine. Longevity.
Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, and maybe not the next month. But only one thing is true. I will be champion one day. I promise. I promise.
And as much as you want to be able to listen a little bit, because somebody's going to give you a gem, but nobody knows but you. You can't get advice on what you should do with your life, right? Nobody knows what you are. Like even sometimes you don't really even know what you are. You got to take your shot. It's like, as much as you want people to agree and you want the people around you to be supporting your dreams and all, it's not going to be like that all the time. You got to do it alone.
Acting, singing, and dancing, I think, are all things that came to me naturally, but they're all things that I try to challenge myself on. So I'm always trying to push myself. I think if you stop challenging yourself, then there's no more, you stopped yourself. But there's no limit to the things that you're capable of, so I think I'm going to continue to challenge myself.
There are two things that I think that great leaders need to have: empathy and perspective. And I think these things are very often forgotten. Leaders are so often so concerned about their status or their position in an organization, they actually forget their real job. And the real job of a leader is not about being in charge, it's about taking care of those in our charge.
I have an unhealthy obsession with spending money, but I have a healthy obsession with making it, so it's all good.
Work ethic's always been an important thing for me. Here's the thing, based on sheer embarrassment of not being able to do my job as well as possible. Right. Have I gotten better at my job? I hope so. Been doing it longer. I'm trying to cut my handicap, as I've always liked to say. Yeah. But I know how to work maybe more constructively. I know how to get out of trouble if I'm feeling too much tension, or if I'm hung up one day at work. I've got some tricks to get out of it.
The first rule of success is to have a vision. You see, if you don't have a vision of where you go, and if you don't have a goal where you go, you drift around and you never end up anywhere. It's like you can have the best ship in the world, you can have the best airplane in the world. If the pilot or the captain doesn't know where to go, it would just drift around. It would not end up anywhere, or most likely in the wrong place.
I'd like to think of myself as an entertainer. I feel if I can entertain people in any way, it's very gratifying, because it's a funny thing. Most people, almost everybody, have lives that have problems and troubles and things to worry about. And if you can entertain somebody, take his or her mind off the things that would normally be bothering them, that's a good thing to do.
You know, my daddy used to tell me all the time, he said, son, best thing you can do for poor people is not be one of them. You know why? Because you can't help the cause.
People say you have to have a lot of passion for what you're doing, and it's totally true. And the reason is because it's so hard that if you don't, any rational person would give up. It's really hard, and you have to do it over a sustained period of time. So if you don't love it, if you're not having fun doing it and you don't really love it, you're going to give up. And that's what happens to most people.
And I myself have taken a break. Everyone needs to just hold off and not be on their phone, because we get so caught up in the negativity of social media that we forget to use it for a positive.
Your father, listen to me, might own a company. Your mama might be a millionaire. You might come from privilege. Your daddy might hook you up with a car. He might know people. He might be able to get you a job. But you will not outwork me. And what you have to decide in your position, you have to make a decision that nobody in this league in your position will outwork you.
I think it's less about other people and more about, like, I have to do better than myself.
Gotcha.
Like, if I feel like I reach a level, then I have to work harder. You never, you know, the best. You can always get better.
Got you.
There's always room for improvement, and that's in every area. That's not just as, you know, artists or whatever, but that's as a human being.
There's these things that we oftentimes, we have responsibilities, and so we'll make sacrifices, you know, or we'll be attracted to something and we'll make sacrifices to get something. And then the idea that we have to be thoughtful about that, you know, that you can sometimes sacrifice yourself, that you think it's for the good, but maybe there's another way.
You can never be too sure at all, you know. And I think that would be, you know, being too sure is complacency, isn't it? And you're going to die. You're going to die quickly from complacency.
The success is to go above it and be the orchestrator and know what you're good at and what you're not good at. So it's almost like if you want your life to be successful, you will not let yourself do certain things, because you're just no good at them. Once you get that picture down, then you can find the paths wherever the paths are. You're open-minded, because now you've given up your ego barrier and your blind spot barrier.
Your brain is the most powerful weapon in the world. Once you put away your phones and your computers and all that we have nowadays, yeah, that's great. We're up to date. But your brain is the only thing you have when you're going through depression, when you're going through hard times, when you're going through death.
Make everybody happy but yourself. Not a good plan. So if I had a gift to give you, it would be maybe make a different decision. And the decision is that no matter what happens in your life, you're going to live in a beautiful state. And that could be happy, that could be grateful, that could be being generous. Those are all beautiful states, aren't they? It could be curious, it could be fun, it could be playful. You're not limited to one state, but it's different than suffering.
Tough times produce strong men. Strong men produce good times. Good times produce weak men. Weak men produce tough times.
Yes.
If that's the truth, which phase are we in today?
Well, if you think about it historically, you have to say that we're in good times. That doesn't mean everything about the current times are good, and of course life is always tenuous and difficult.
Having one person who believes in you and you can count on, and it may be your mom, it may be your grandma, it may be an uncle, it may be a coach, whoever that is, I think you have to kind of hang on to that. You may not always find it exactly the way you would want it, but somebody out there is believing in you, and you got to listen to them and bring them into your life.
It don't matter whose fault it is that something is broken if it's your responsibility to fix it. For example, it's not your fault if your partner cheated and ruined your marriage, but it is for damn sure your responsibility to figure out how to take that pain and how to overcome that and build a happy life for yourself.
Don't ever let somebody tell you you can't do something. Not even me. All right?
All right.
You got a dream, you got to protect it. People can't do something themselves. They want to tell you you can't do it. You want something, go get it.
And the number one lesson I could offer you where your work is concerned is this: become so skilled, so vigilant, so flat out fantastic at what you do that your talent cannot be dismissed.
Think big, because then you're going to get big. Then you're going to go and achieve big things. That is the most important thing. You know, we don't achieve big things by accident. So shoot for the top, shoot for the sky, shoot for the, for the stars.
To win actually is not important. To be successful is not even important. But how to plan and prepare is critically crucial. That means when you are prepared very well, when you plan very well, then success can come on your way.
You got to work your butt off. If you think that you're going to go and accomplish something really special and be the best in anything in the world, and you think you can do it without working, you make a big mistake. Because no matter what I did, if it was in bodybuilding or in acting or if it is in the political arena, it always took a lot of work. And you got to put out, and if you're not willing to work hard, forget about it. So there's another rule that is very important.
I just look at, each day very up close, what's in front of me. Do I like it? Does it stick with me? Could I work on it for a few months? That's it, the slightest amount of control.
Storytelling for me is the number one thing. It's writing, it's outlining, it's creating narratives that can inspire the next generation of athletes, right? What are those things? And not from merely a documentary perspective, but from a fantasy perspective, from a mythology perspective, right? What are those stories that we can use to teach the next generation of athletes, not just about the sport, but teach them about life through sport?
If you love something, if you have a strong passion for something, you would go to the extreme to try to understand or try to get it.
If you're going to write your destiny, you can do a bad first job. You're going to get smarter as you move forward. That's the thing, is that, so something beckons to you, that's what happens here. Maybe the star that Geppetto wished on was the wrong damn star, but at least it was a star, right? At least it was in the sky. At least it moved him forward.
There was this huge distinction between people that think they know everything, and there are technicians that really do, and the ones that truly, honestly, the technicians that are truly artists know nothing. Right. And it's terrifying. I would never do anything if I knew how it was going to end up. Anytime you think you know how to do something, it's definitely not. It's not what I'm into. You can't do stuff unless there's massive risk involved.
Everybody wants to know what I would do if I didn't win. I guess we'll never know.
Actually, oddly enough, step one is not introspective. Step one is get out, play, get lost, have fun, try a lot of things, challenge every assumption that you have, get out of your age bracket, hang out with people way outside of how you grew up, a totally different circle. You will be utterly shocked. Utterly shocked.
But you're wrong if you think that the joy of life comes principally from human relationships. God's placed it all around us. It's in everything, in anything we can experience. People just need to change the way they look at those things.
I knew I was going to be a millionaire. I actually grounded and prepared to be a millionaire, so eventually I became a millionaire. You know what I'm saying? So I live like that on a day-to-day basis. I watch what I say. I'm a strong believer in the tongue is the powerful thing on your body.